All right. My craziest conspiracy theory is that Dr. Silberman in the Terminator franchise is actually secretly working for Skynet. Now, this guy appears in the first three Terminator movies, and he's also in the Terminator Experience, the 3D one that's at Universal, and we'll get to that in a minute. But see, this guy appears across all three movies, and the first movie, obviously, he's in the interrogation room with Kyle Reese. Let's see if we could find a picture of it here, just as reference to keep your guys' attention spans going, right? So we first see him in Terminator 1, right? Immediately he's accusing Kyle. He's trying to make Kyle seem like he's crazy for all this stuff and that this is impossible, blah blah blah. And originally, he seems like the rational one, the sane one that's coming to, bring some nuance to the situation. But I think there's a more nefarious thing. I think this man was on the Cyberdyne payroll to make sure Kyle does not spread the information that this is happening. Interestingly enough, right after this scene, right? How did the Terminator know that Kyle and Sarah were here at the police station? We don't know. I think it was Silberman though, because if you notice, in the scene where he leaves, right before the Terminator completely destroys the police station, killing everyone inside, Silberman leaves. Only as he's leaving, look, watch this. See, his pager goes off. He's beeped as the Terminator is walking in. They 100% gave him the call to make sure that one of their assets does not get killed. He is literally leaving as the Terminator comes in. I don't think that's a coincidence. But Terminator 2, he basically just repeats the same role that he has in Terminator 1 of just being like, oh, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. But what makes Terminator 2 crazy, though, is that he sees the Terminator go through the bars, right? Like, wait, hold on. He sees the Terminator slip, like, completely melt through the bars, right? He's seeing this in person for the first time. There is no way he can possibly deny their existence now. Yet when we see him in Terminator 3, he's still denying it. And for some reason, coincidentally enough, is dispatched to this specific scene, this specific crime scene. Why is he dispatched to this area? Because this doesn't take place in the same area as Terminator 2 and 1. This is in a completely different town. Assumingly, a completely different police department is responsible for this, but why is he dispatched to the same thing again? Interesting. And he also, just like Terminator 1, he disappears as the Terminator shows up. It's also interesting, going back to Terminator 2, that he doesn't even the T-1000 doesn't even address Silberman as a threat. He runs right past him, which that thing doesn't do. It kills everything in its way. It kills Pepsi Guy, for Christ's sake, but it keeps Dr. Silberman alive. Why? Now, I'm actually looking back in these clips, and I know you could make the argument, right? You could definitely make the argument that Pepsi Guy did get in the way. Like Silberman stays up against the wall, right? Like Silberman stays where he is. But I actually think this, if anything, further illustrates my point. Because why does Silberman not join the T-800, Sarah and John? He doesn't go with them, even though he clearly sees this as some sort of alien-like threat, right? He doesn't do that. He stands out of the way and he lets the T-1000 do its job because he knows what it's designed to do. He knows why it's there. He knows if he stands out of the way, it will not harm him. I think this 100% just keeps confirming everything I've just been saying the entire time. And now, interesting, I want to tie this all together with what I mentioned before, because in T2's 3D Battle Across Time, one of the iterations of Dr. Silberman does eventually become the director of Cyberdyne's Employee Health and Wellness Center. Like, obviously, these all deviate. That's why deviating timelines. He's different things in different timelines. But what I find interesting, though, is that in this one, he specifically is actually working for Cyberdyne. And in my opinion, I think this makes the most sense in the canon. I think 100% Silberman was working with Cyberdyne Systems. I think at the very least he was on the payroll. maybe he wasn't entirely aware of Judgment Day, but he was definitely being paid to suppress Kyle Reese, Sarah Connor, and any mention of Terminators in society. Because why is it that he's always there to show up to try to convince the survivors and guilt trip, like, gaslight them essentially into thinking that the Terminator isn't a real threat and that it's not real, despite the fact he himself has seen the Terminator in action multiple times. He still refuses to acknowledge it. But that's just my theory. If you guys want to if you guys want to check it out in the comments, I would love to know what you guys think about this. In the meantime, I will catch you guys later.